Hello, my dear people, empaths and highly sensitive people. Thank you for coming to check out my new video here. We have another murder mystery video. I had a mediumship session with the spirit of Raisa Räisänen, and therefore I'm giving you guys this video now about her. I have been investigating her case for quite some time, and here comes the result. So, she was a Finnish girl, a 16-year-old girl, who vanished the 16th of October in 1999, just in a few hours, basically. So she was a tall, skinny girl, very successful at basketball. So she could have really become a very talented basketball player. So this is all in all very sad what happened to her, and also this touches me and my heart and my soul very much because I could have been her, basically, even though this happened in another town. But anyway, she was basically the same age as I am. I was also 16 at the time. But yeah, so she vanished in just a couple hours. She went out that evening at 9 p.m. basically with a girlfriend. They wanted to go out clubbing, partying, what teenagers usually want to do. So she was basically celebrating her game that had been very successful that day. It was a Friday evening, and the usual that you just dress up and go out with a girlfriend. That is completely understandable. But she was underage, so you're not usually allowed to go to a bar or a club unless you're 18 in our country. So that was a bit of like a mistake that I felt from her, that she should have settled for some party at home, and not go out downtown, or at least stay with friends. So she was hanging with her friend basically almost an hour, basically, something like that, downtown, and they went to a bar called Casablanca, which has changed their name by now. And basically after 10 p.m. she was left alone because her friend's boyfriend came to pick her up, and Raisa could not fit into the same car as this boyfriend and her friend, and there were some other people also. They went to some other party at home, at somebody's home. So this was very unfortunate that Raisa was left alone at that time. And of course my senses are picking up that whole feeling, that whole energy of that situation. That is not good to leave your friend alone, who is a young woman. It's not a good idea to leave them alone downtown. Even though her friend made sure that she still had battery on her phone, and she had she had a little money. I'm not sure if she had a wallet. She didn't have a bag or a purse like usually as women do, so that is also strange. But she had a little money, like 20 marks. We had marks still at that time, not euros. So she had a little money anyway with her, but her friend was making sure that she could still contact her with her cell phone, and maybe they could get together later. But this never happened, obviously. But yeah, there were some sort of interesting events that were happening. And because I have been really diving deeply into this case, I will tell you my theory what happened. But basically, the timeline is this. And then basically at 11 p.m., she was joined by a foreign man, because she was clearly looking for company. So she went to this other bar called Terenpeli, and somebody took her phone there. They stole her phone about 18 past 10. So pretty quickly after she was left alone. And then about at 11 p.m. there was this foreign man, like I said, and a taxi ride. So she took a taxi ride with this foreign man. But my theory is that she came back. She was able to come back, probably with that same man and that some other taxi, not the same taxi, but some other way. By some other way, she came back downtown because she was seen later there. But this taxi theory was because there had been a taxi driver who was claiming very hardly claiming that he had seen her that night. He was very sure about what he had seen and experienced. So I also believe very much, I feel that it was her. So she came back in some way. She got a ride back. She was hanging with a foreign man and she had some other way back to center. And she was not that far from center, you know, that she could have not come back. And then, which is really interesting, is that she had another car drive with many foreign men because she was seen. You know, I have picked information from people who were witnessing what happened. So, and then she came back to center again. So she took a ride with this man somewhere and also was able to come back to center. And she was also wanting to go to the home party with her friends, but she was never able to. And, you know, her phone was taken. So for that reason as well, she wasn't able to contact her friend and her friend wasn't able to contact her anymore. So that was a crucial point, you know, what happened. And then about at midnight, she went to Seurahuone, which is another bar. And there she met this old woman who is very mysterious. Right now, people are actually waiting to hear who this woman is and what her role was in this whole situation. And I find her energy very, very, very tense, very dark. Not a good person to be hanging around with, especially as a young woman who's very naive, you know, and trusting. So she met this woman, and Raisa and this woman was seen also around that time, around midnight, there downtown, walking together. This woman was like pulling her arm, like really being controlling. Like it seemed like Raisa was wanting to leave, and this is completely natural because she had realized that she was making a mistake by hanging with this woman. And there was a Finnish man who had seen them, and that is why we have the proof of this happening. He had been feeling like he should help this young woman, but he never did. So he's feeling very sorry because of this. And I totally understand that. I would feel that same way, obviously, as well, if I had seen something like this and I had done nothing. And then after that, it was like 20 to 1 that night. She was walking with this woman to Armonkallio. It was a place pretty near downtown center, so they could walk there. And there was this blonde man, and also his car, this old type American car that had a V8 motor in it, and this motor sound was heard by people who lived there that night. And also they heard screaming by some woman, and probably there were some other noises as well. But my theory is, as I was looking into this, as I was picking up these events and the vibes and energy and everything, my theory is that this woman, this old woman, was a pimp, and Raisa was selling sex, and that is why she was finding these men to hang out with. So that is what I'm getting with this whole case, is that she was selling sex to these men, and she would get paid. And this woman had noticed her because she was basically looking for these foreign men and their company, you know, to be able to offer them sex and to get money. So this woman wanted to basically act like her pimp, and basically she wanted to even control her, you know, because she was seeing that, okay, this young woman doesn't really know what she's doing, and she was basically seeing like this easy target. This woman had been, before in her life, she had also been involved in some criminal activities, probably even killing somebody. That is just what I heard. So it is no wonder that this was happening. So the blonde man ended up killing Raisa. And that is why the screams were heard by people. And they shoved her into that old American car. And yeah, this man wanted to rape her, but she stood up for herself. So that is why she screamed, because this man ended up killing her. And this woman and this man, they just shoved her in the car, and this man took her body and drove to Hervantajärvi, near Hervantajärvi, which is a lake. And she was drowned there. She was drowned to Hervantajärvi. But Hervantajärvi is basically coming together to Näsijärvi, which is even a bigger lake. So they come together. So my theory is that her body is in Näsijärvi, that it was, you know, with time, the body is not the same, you know, as it used to be. When a person dies, the body withers, you know, and it has been floating to Näsijärvi. So parts of her body are there, and of course we will never find them because that lake is so big. so huge, and you cannot find her body anymore. You know, you might find parts if you're lucky, but it is impossible. So in this way, these people involved in her killing will never be caught, really. I'm sure that they're trying to find that old woman right now, and they're trying to question her. I'm sure that the police is working on that, but it's very slow, and I have a feeling that really this will never be settled, this case, fully. But yeah, it's all in all very, very, very sad. And just this June, they were trying to find her body in Hermantajärvi. And that is why this case also came to me. It just popped up into my mind suddenly. And I was looking up her on Google. You know, I was scrolling on the news and everything. So that is why I just had the spark to start investigating this case again, you know, and I found out everything. It was an hour's work, many hours work, you know, when you do this. So I spend a lot of time on investigating this. But yeah, so this is my theory, what happened. So they will not find her, and it's so sad. It is so sad. I just feel so bad for her mother and for everyone close to her. You know, it's just terrible. But yeah, so she was drowned. She was killed and she was drowned. And this blonde man was seen by another man who was a witness as well. This man saw this blonde man in his car, you know, and it was like 6 a.m. that morning. So it was a place where there aren't a lot of people. It was like this area with a lot of woods, you know, and not a lot of people around. So it was very easy to get rid of a body there, and and very, 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 very simple and easy in that way to not get caught either, because they had time, you know, and nobody suspected anything, and nobody was able to hear anything at that place, you know. So all in all, just very tragic how a young woman's night out ended like this. And basically nobody knew about her wild side like this. You know, she had written in her diary that she can be such a wild child, but she had not written about this sort of like secret side to be selling sex. But I could figure that out because she was like so into men and how she was dressed. She was dressed basically, you know, in that way, especially because it was a cold night, you know, and you need a coat, you need good shoes, you need pants, you know, it can be so cold at that time in our country, you know, and people were really noticing her because she was dressed so lightly, so it was also very suspicious. And I just cannot understand how she was able to manage it through even, you know. But yeah, so this is in short, you know, what happened to her, and it is just so sad. That's just all I can say. You know, when I'm thinking about her, I just feel so much sadness and just awful. Awful, tragic case. Poor girl. But now she's a spirit in heaven, and of course she's doing well, and she's with her mother. and every single day she's with her loved ones. If they only would see her and feel her, and I'm sure that they do. I actually watched one of her mother's interviews, or maybe it was the only one, but it was years ago. It was quite after this happened. I could really feel her sadness, and she was also talking about how she was feeling her presence. So I really know that she has been connecting with her daughter and vice versa, and that is such a beautiful thing, because that is what we can do. We can always connect with our loved ones after they have passed away, because they are always with us. They're always, always, always with us. But yeah, so this was this video, the theory, what happened to her, and I just need to end this before I start crying here, because I just feel the sadness, you know, when I think about her. So as usual, like I said, feel free to comment or ask anything or whatever just pops in to your mind, and wishing you a wonderful day. Like I said, a wonderful week. I will try to do these videos more often, and you will be seeing more from me. And thanks for subscribing and liking and commenting, and don't forget that you can always have a reading or coaching with me if you want help and guidance with your own life as a sensitive, amazing person that you are, especially when you have been through emotional or physical, even physical abuse. I am here for you guys, okay? So, thank you. Namaste.